the Prime Directive, the Declaration of Human Rights, the United Federation of Planets, the United Nations, World War II, the Dominion Federation War, the Art of War, the Teachings of Sirach, Jesus Christ, Kalis the Unforgettable.
Namaste Homo sapiens, welcome to another exciting, albeit shorter than usual episode of PoliTreks. Today we are continuing our Engaging with Star Trek Picard series. We'll be breaking down episode 8, Broken Pieces, today. We'll be doing this a little differently, a couple of big changes for this episode. I do not have a special guest because I messed up on the timeline. It was like I was doing all this and somebody just threw a red matter device at me and I just slipped into another universe and I came back. If you're on this planet at this time, which is March of 2020, you will know that the world is in chaos because of COVID-19. And because of that, I was unable to deliver this on time to you on the weekly speed or frequency that we were putting these out on. So I do apologize for that. I appreciate you sticking around and I hope you will stay with me and we'll stick this landing together on the Engaging with Picard series. I appreciate all of you listening so far. I appreciate all of you who have shared your thoughts with me. People who have clearly told me that they don't agree with me. People who have told me very passionately that they agree with me. Whatever it has been, as long as you were respectful, civil, and didn't resort to name calling and going away in your own echo chambers and saying things and not actually responding to things, but just calling us. If you didn't resolve your issues with our episodes doing that, I really appreciated it. And I enjoy it. I enjoy listening to it. I enjoy reading it. And it's totally okay that you disagree with us, just so you know. So, all that to say, the couple of changes that will be happening today is I do not have a guest because I'm recording this kind of on the fly just to make sure we have continuity and we don't skip an episode. So this will be, and also because of that, I did not have the resources if I wanted to get these out immediately or relatively quickly to keep on pace with, because, you know, you still want the finale's review to be relevant and you want everything to come out at some point. I just had to sit down and do these. So I will not be doing the detailed scene by scene that I did in the past. So this will be a much shorter episode. Maybe that's your jam. Maybe that's what you want. That is totally okay. You know what else could be your jam, speaking of, is the Trek Geeks Network. Now, our co-founders, Bill and Dan, have given us this awesome space to be part of the awesome Trek Geeks Network, and we appreciate it. Normally, I do this with my co-host, Barry DeFord, but he's out on his own doing Picard Live, which is a review/breakdown show, which is done on the live format of YouTube's and Facebook's and other places that provide live streaming platforms. So, because he has been doing that, I have been doing this here. We go a little more detailed, we take a little bit longer. Picard Live, you know what, you should check out Picard Live. That's the best advice I can give you, is checking out Picard Live on your own and then letting me know what you thought of it. I love the show because it's my co-host doing it and he's been doing a bang-up job. So please listen to Picard Live on the network. Other cool network shows that we have, like Trek Rewind, which is a better version of Trek Geeks. Yeah, Bill and Dan, I said it. What are you going to do? Come at me, bros. And you have Discovering Trek. You have Trek Rewind. I said that already. 5-Year Mission. Just so many good podcasts. This one, which is, I think, the best one. But we're so lucky to be a part of this network. That's what I wanted to say. And also, you know what else should be your jam? Is pins. Fansets.com has the best character pins. And they don't just have characters from Star Trek. They have characters from Alien, DC Comics. But if Star Trek is your only jam, continuing the spirit of the Engaging with Picard series, they are now slowly, very slowly, giving us fans what we want with preview images of the approved designs for their Picard series pins that are coming out. we now know that yes, there will be a Jurati pin. And yes, there will be a Soji pin. And oh yeah, there's a Rafi pin on the way. You know what? The pin I can't wait for is the F8 pin. I hope they took my tweet seriously. And I will be getting that pin because I'll be buying 10 of them and I'll be hanging them everywhere in the house. Not to mention on one of my 3 jackets that are in rotation. So F8 will be with me always. But if you are a fan of fan sets, maybe you're not. You should totally check them out on fansets.com. And if you are a fan already, or you've just checked them out on fansets.com and you're ready to get some pins, check this out, guys. I have a 15% discount code for you. So yeah, not 5, not 10, 15% that you can use to get off your total order. All you have to do is in the checkout section, in the apply promo code section, you have to type 9 letters, POLITREKS, and bam, you get 15% off. You know how I know that this works for a fact? I just did this last week and I got my 5 new pins that I just ordered. Now, I have most of their Star Trek stuff, so I went a little different this time. I got some of the ones that I've been waiting to get from their DC comics. So I got those. Now, what are those? If you're curious and you want to tell me how you enjoyed this episode or you didn't enjoy this episode, and on that I'm totally wrong. If you want to tell me how you felt about this episode, how you feel about our show, or you just want to look at the pins that I got this week from fansets.com, you should totally go to @Gutter_hero, which is my personal Twitter handle. And I have posted a picture of it on there. By the time you listen to this episode, I think it'll be on there. And you can see the 5 cool DC pins that I got. Anyway, well, without further ado, I always mess that up. I wonder why, but I always mess. 3 simple words. Without further ado, there we go. Let's get on to the main section, which again, because there isn't a special guest and we don't have to do a whole big bit to set them up, we can just jump into it. Let's get into engaging with Picard. Broken Pieces. Boom. But the opening of this episode is really powerful. I enjoyed in Broken Pieces, they opened with the admonition. Let's do this proper. Because we're not doing a scene by scene, what we're going to do for this episode is we are going to StarTrek.com, where they have posted their official summary of the episode. And we'll be reading snippets of that. So thank you, StarTrek.com. Let's just do a little summary. So you guys already know what's about to happen. Hopefully you've seen the episode a couple of times. And you're here listening to this after that. But if you haven't, spoilers from here on out. So pause it here, go watch the episode, Broken Pieces, and then come back. Okay, here are some excerpts from the detailed recap of the StarTrek.com's Broken Pieces. At the beginning of Star Trek Picard's 8th episode, we finally learn the truth behind the Jatvash, the truth that if you learn it, could destroy your mind. The opening scene takes us to an initiation ritual for the super secret Romulan organization. Commodore O fills the candidates on the backstory. An advanced ancient civilization preserved its memory in a system with 8 stars on a planet called Ea. The Jatvash took this warning that there was a line of demarcation for advanced artificial life, and once the people crossed it, something would happen to them, which is what happened to this ancient civilization. They took this warning so seriously that it became the Jatvash's central mission to eliminate any artificial beings. And Nerissa is one of the people that is part of this initiation ritual. And once everybody sees the admonition or the secret message, they go mad. But Nerissa is the only one left standing with her wits. Interestingly, Ramda is also here, but her mind has clearly gone to shambles. And the implication here is that Ramda was the reason that the Borg cube separated from the collective after her assimilation. Anyway, we come back to the present where on the Borg cube, Eldor is hiding out and waiting for his rescue. And it arrives just in time, in the style you'd expect from 7 of 9. And then 7 begins regenerating the Borg cube and creates an entirely new collective among the local Borg, with herself as queen. She realizes she has no choice in the matter, and so she activates all the Borg that are on the cube by becoming the queen, but Narissa responds by murdering the drones in stasis. The ex-Borg overwhelm her, but she once again escapes. And in the end, 7 takes the cube back and is able to disconnect from this new collective that she has created. And on the La Serena, from the second he sees Soji, Rios begins acting very strangely. It quickly becomes clear that Daj and Soji were in the first of Data's daughters, and that he has come across one of their previous incarnations, Jana in this case. Raffi spends the bulk of the episode piecing together Rios' relationship with her, as well as the truth behind the synth attack on Mars. The Conclave of 8 isn't a secret organization. It's the name of the system where the Shatvash holds their initiation rites. Now, the crew of La Serena have learned of Jurati's treachery, and as a result, they begin to distrust Soji. The truth is that Dr. Jurati, who has put herself into a coma, finally awakens, and she admits to murdering Bruce Maddox to everybody on the ship. And in the end, Raffi manages to also get through to Rios. His old captain, the man he admired, turned out to be a murderer. So Starfleet, or more specifically Commodore O, ordered him to kill 2 synths, a brother and a sister. He complied, and then he killed himself. So a few things happen from here. Thank you, StarTrek.com. A few things happen from here, but essentially everybody ends up deciding to take the La Serena and leaving to Coppelius, which is the planet that Soji is supposed to go to. Now, what happens once they get to Coppelius? Or do they get to Coppelius? How do they get to Coppelius? You can catch that in our next 2 episodes. But I hope you're with me on all this. Just a couple more things I wanted to point out. In this episode, you also find out that Jean-Luc made a subspace link to Starfleet, and he manages to get Clancy on his side. And they all decide the best route of action is going and rescuing the androids. And you also find out that Raffi gathers different pieces of information, and she convinces everyone that the Romulans are behind the synth attack on Mars. A lot of things happen in this episode. Here's what I really feel about the actual episode. And I feel like this is episode 7 takes a couple choices that really irk me and make me question what the backbone of this season has been. Well, it's the characters, right? The characters are the backbone of any story. They have to be. Otherwise, it doesn't. Any good story. But I want you guys to know that these things, there are a few things that really hurt me, but I could understand them. Again, this is armchair writing. I want all of you to know that. I'm a professional writer, but I'm not paid by CBS to make $1 million show. So I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Like that's a fair criticism. But also as a fan and just someone who enjoys storytelling, I have submitted theses using Star Trek episodes. I have designed projects of my own around things from Star Trek that moved me and inspired me. So I feel like I owe something to Star Trek in the realm of storytelling, and it owes me because I've learned so much from it. So when a story doesn't start to make sense, it hurts me just as much as a viewer, and also because of my background as somebody who wants to be a professional, on a much bigger scale, a storyteller. So maybe those of you listening can help me understand what exactly happened in this episode that made the series take a halt in the growth of characters, and also started to make me question if the writing and the development of these episodes was rushed, and why the quality just fell the way it did, and Okay, let's get into it. So Jurati murders Maddox. She confesses to 3 people and the actual daughter, in a way, of Maddox that she murdered him. And she pays no consequences for these actions. She is standing, at one point in this episode, she's standing in front of 3 ex-Starfleet officers, one of whom in the previous episode was called the greatest captain of all time. People who have morals and justice and honor coded into their DNA. And she says, oh yeah, I was in a mind meld, so I killed him. But I promise you I won't. And all 3 of them just are magically fine with it. Nobody at any point puts handcuffs on her. Nobody at any point even sits her down and starts asking, hey, how can we trust you? We blindly trusted you the first time, even though Raffi clearly says they haven't even done a security check on her in episode 3. And we're here, we should have learned our lesson. At some point, we need to sit down and talk to you and not let you make decisions, not let you take actions. And yet, 3 ex-Starfleet officers, with probably one of the most important people in the universe right now, Soji, on that ship, it just makes zero sense to me that those people would just, well, I guess she's fine now. I mean, she said she's going to fix it. It's not like because she was on a mind meld, we had any problems. You know, it wasn't like there was a tracking chip on her that led us to almost die. Nobody pauses to ask these questions. Put handcuffs on her. Or at least restrain her somewhere until they can get to a position where they can think more carefully, because they now have to do a really important thing and resolve this huge thing that is happening in their lives, which could very well kill them. And the person that did this just happens to go scot-free. So that makes zero sense to me. Characters have been beaten up and they had their ranks taken away. And that's fine. These people are ex-Starfleet, so that wouldn't really count. But people have been hurt a lot more, or people have been inspected or restrained a lot more for a lot less in Star Trek. This is the same show that gave me In the Pale Moonlight, which is all about actions and consequences and how the littlest of actions can cause the biggest of consequences. And now you just sit here and you tell me that these 3 people who are supposed to be the best and brightest just are okay with the fact that she murdered someone, but now she says she won't, so she's fine. So that choice really halted the series for me. And I was trying to think, when was the last time I felt this way in Star Trek? And I'm sure there are other times I've felt where consequences are not being dealt with and creators are taking the easy way out. You know the last time I felt this way? Season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. Ash Tyler just murders Culber. Boom! Just stands up and snaps the man's neck off. You know what he gets? At the end of the season, somebody, not just anybody, at the end of that season, the husband of that man says, you know what, you should feel bad. And yeah, we get in season 2, we get this fight, hallway fight between restored Culber and Ash Tyler, but how is that fine? Why is that man still on a ship walking? Why is this woman we don't know, how do we know she's not under a mind meld right now? How do we know she's not going to betray any of those people at any moment? How are anybody trusting what she's saying? So, yeah, that's bad. That's not good. That is a problem. And the fact that the writers took the easy way out by never actually letting her confront these, or more importantly, I don't blame Jurati. She's doing what's right for Jurati at this point. I blame the 3 people who are on that ship and know better. So that choice really took me out of this episode. Coming specifically back to the character of Rios, so we find out that he has this PTSD from his captain who was forced to murder since and then killed himself. And yet he has affection for Jurati, who murdered a man on his ship and slept with him a really short time after she murdered that man. And then she's now again on his ship, and not only does he not do anything to her, he does the worst possible thing. His affection for her grows. Why? Why is someone who's intelligent enough to run his own ship, design his own holograms, each with specific differences that distinguish them from each other, and a man who can ragtag band run across the universe, why is this guy showing his affection to a murderer? Why is he not talking to her from the back of a phaser while the mouth is pointed at her face? Again, a choice that completely took me out of this episode. But that goes to the larger problem that I had of Jurati. Now, I'm not saying it's all bad, but there must be something that Jurati can do to redeem her, right? For a character who has done something like this, there must first be suffering. So you can see that the character has committed some kind of penance for her actions. So you can start to forgive her. She takes 0 actions in this episode that make her feel like she deserves any kind of forgiving. She just wakes up and walks into a room and has a conversation again with someone who is really closely tied to the person she just murdered. So in the connection to Rios and on a larger picture, the 3 people that go from, oh, she could not have murdered anybody, she's so innocent, to, oh my God, she murdered someone, to, oh, never mind, we'll just take her on this really important thing that we're going, not knowing or thinking about the fact that she could kill anybody at any point. That really is a bad storytelling choice. And it shows that you're taking the easy way out instead of making your characters pay. That's pretty crappy. So yeah, I hope there is something that Jurati can do, or something that she is compelled to do, that I can even start to think about her being redeemed. I really enjoyed the stuff in this episode on the Borg Cube. I thought this was a really good moment, or a really good episode for Nerissa particularly. She's driving the action as a really good villain. I'm going to stop saying really good. But she's driving the action as an intelligent, smart, presence of mind filled villain, because she knows exactly what she's doing. And she kind of wins at the end of the episode. Well, not technically, because we know what happens and she's forced to leave or hide out or retreat. But she convinces Seven to become the Borg Queen, activate all those Borgs and form a new collective. And just when they come alive, she throws them out the airlock. How cool is that? I love that was what they decided to do with the villain. Good writing, guys. See, when people do good things, I talk about them. I don't hate everything about Star Trek Picard. That was a good plot thread. On the other side, it bothered me that Seven, without even thinking about how she might endanger the lives of all those Borg, just decides to become the queen. But the narrative of her not having any other choice also kind of makes sense. I just wish she had thought a little more about what she was doing. And maybe she could have found a better way to resolve this situation instead of, getting them all murdered. that breaks my heart. And it's unfortunate that that is the situation that it ends up being. But I don't know what I would do if I was in Seven's shoes. I don't know how else I would get them all there. This is simplifying it, but it's the freedom or death situation. And that was tough, and that's what she chose. And it's hard, but she has to live with it. But anyway, at the end of the episode, things kind of work out because she manages to take control of the cube. And now we know there's at least some help coming when they get to Coppelius. The thing that bothers me, well, not really bothers me, but so the 7 of 9 becoming a Borg Queen is a plot line they can use once. And the fact that they basically used it to turn a switch on and off in an episode and not really actually see her be the Borg Queen, that was, I thought, this could have come at any more moments where hopefully they were in the heat of battle or something big happens. It's like I apologize for bringing another franchise into this, but remember how cool it felt when Cap got Mjolnir in Endgame? It was like that moment, but instead of him using the Mjolnir to hit Thanos, let's just say he gets Mjolnir and he hits one of the goons, and then just Mjolnir goes away from him and he never uses it again. I hope that is not the case. I hope they justify using 7 as a Borg Queen again sometime in the future, but I would really like to see the full power of what she can do as the Borg Queen. Jerry Ryan's acting is on spot. I have to say that at this point. All the acting in this episode is really good. All the acting in the series so far has been really good. And that's what makes something bad watchable and something watchable great, is really good acting. It sucked that Elnor basically did nothing in this episode. Hopefully that guy will get something to do. But all in all, those are kind of my thoughts for this episode. Very stream of consciousness. We didn't go through a structure like we do usually, but I also wanted to get this out relatively quickly so you guys could also enjoy all our future episodes. Episode 9 has already been recorded, just so you guys know, because I'm recording this the Saturday of the finale, so it's March 28th. So episode 9 has been recorded, and I'm excited for you to listen to that with my special guest. And episode 10 will be recorded tomorrow, and we'll have a really special guest tomorrow. So I hope you listen to that too. And all of these will be out in the next couple of weeks, and you can all enjoy them together. I think we'll do one more after the finale. Hopefully I can have Barry back for that one, or if not, a good special guest for that one. We'll do a season retrospective, because I have some thoughts on really where the season stopped working for me, and that was Nepenthe, but you guys know my qualms with Nepenthe. If not, you should listen to the previous episode. But lots of good stuff coming your way, guys. And I really want to thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for listening to PoliTreks. Thank you for staying with me. Please be respectful online. Please be civil. Please stay safe. Please wash your hands. Practice social distancing. Consider fostering a pet from your shelter. We have confirmed that cats and dogs are not carriers of coronavirus. So if you're living by yourself and if you just want to try, see how it feels, you should definitely foster it. My recommendation would be a dog, but if you're a cat person, I don't hold that against you. I think cats are inherently evil and they're really going to take over the world at some point. But if you are a cat person, you can totally be a cat person. I don't hold that against you at all. You do you, my friend. And please be safe from coronavirus. Please keep yourself safe, keep your family safe, keep your friends safe. And stay in touch. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you thought of our episode on this episode. Let me know how you're enjoying the show. Let me know about things I'm wrong. I really want answers. When I ask you guys these questions, I'm not asking them rhetorically. I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence. I'm not trying to air out my grievances. it's therapeutic to me to do these episodes so I can shape these thoughts that I have into words. And then I can give them to you. And it kind of feels good to give them off to you, because then I'm trusting you guys to let me know when you listen to the episode that if you feel strongly enough one way or the other about what I've said, you'll hit me back with your thoughts. And then it becomes a conversation, and it becomes something that is two-sided and not just one-sided. So please let me know on @gutter_hero. That's my Twitter account. Or you can tweet at us on PoliTreks. That's PoliTreks. Or you can record your own voice message and send that to the Trek Geeks website, trekgeeks.com. So many ways to get in touch with us, guys. I hope you will keep that in mind and you will stay safe. And until the next episode, live long and prosper, and onward to Star Society.